Here we are in our first program for the series of women's health. My name is Sandra Ferreira. I'm a licensed psychotherapist with over 30 years of clinical experience, and I am happy to be here sharing with you some information about women's health and women's mental health and how that affects your life and how we can work together to improve your quality of life. So today we are going to talk about women in a workplace. So before we start, feel free to make any comments, to send your reactions, to say where you're from, and any questions I'll be happy to answer as well. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel to receive a notification for future events, and the link is attached to this program, to this channel here, this show, and I'll be happy to serve you with. We have a lot of programs there already, a lot of videos, always with information about mental health. So let's talk about women in a workplace. Women, it has a very big challenge, right? We have come a long way in terms of our rights, our civil rights, in our place in society, our roles and everything, but we have a long way to go, right? We still have so many challenges that our society is not really equipped to really provide us with the conditions to have really equality, right? Because when you think about the reality of being a woman, encompasses many aspects, right? We have different kinds of women with different realities. Some women are single, young, others are a little older, some have kids, some has multiple kids, some has relatives that they take care of. Some has partners who are supportive, some don't, and some have challenges dealing with physiological things like hormones and stuff. So the women's body and women's reality is much more complex than usually the men, and especially when it comes to accommodating those realities in our society. Our society is traced still based on the man's needs, right? And of course, like I said, we came a long way in our progress to conquer humans' rights for women and a little bit of equality and justice, social justice, but we have a long way to go still. And is somehow our fight, right? Because we are the ones who know the reality of it, the reality of being a woman, both in terms of physiology and also in terms of roles in society, and everything we experience, right? As in our interactions with society. So when it comes to the workplace, women in a workplace, of course, is very complex. So when you think about women in the cities, women who has college degrees or profession is one reality. Others is a completely different reality when you think about someone who comes from a lower class, who didn't have opportunity also to study and to develop a career. there's even another reality for those who live in more remote areas, like rural areas, in where the availability of work and the culture is much different from one another. So we are going to tap about in some of the aspects. Of course, we cannot cover everything in one session, but we are going to tap about in some of the sessions some of the aspects of being a woman. And so in terms of the reality of, for example, a woman who works in a city, in corporations or factories or in any kind of formal institution, schools and everything. So is the challenges are based on the physiology, right? Sometimes the hormones changes throughout the month for women who are fertile, and so this affects the mood, right? And affects sometimes the disposition. Some women suffers extreme pain during the menstrual cycle, for example, and or mood swings and difficulties with the adjustments of all those things. And the demand and the expectations at work are the same. We need to perform the same every single day. We need to relate to coworkers. We need to relate with our bosses or subordinates, or depending on the circumstances and which kind of career the woman has. So, and it is a challenge. So one of these things I would encourage to deal with your mental health is, first of all, acknowledge, right? Acknowledge your needs, acknowledge your feelings, and for yourself, right? And of course, if there's any extreme imbalance on your mood throughout the month or throughout the day, don't hesitate to look for help, because sometimes it would be a matter of some hormone therapy. Perhaps you have some hormone imbalance. Perhaps you have you could benefit from therapy to talk about those issues, to receive some support, to develop some coping skills which would benefit you and in your reality and your relationship with your work. So it's a wonderful thing to think about, that we have so many resources nowadays in terms of help for women as well. So let's talk about other aspects. For example, if they have children, right? Women who has children, who are mothers, and they need to work. So the challenges are very demanding, because is two different, very different, extremely demanding roles that she has when she works and she has kids. Depending on her reality, if she has support and help from extended family or a partner, makes things a little easier. If she makes more money and she can pay a babysitter, or she can pay a good child care, is also beneficial. But for those who don't, it is very stressful, because then they work all day, they get tired and stressed, there's the pressure and the demands of the work, and then they come back home, they need to deal with house chores, laundry and cooking and cleaning, and also taking care of the kids, right? So it's two full-time jobs. If you think about that, some people think that, oh, while the woman is working, they are not taking care of their kids. No, it's not true, because they are always thinking about their children. Sometimes if the children get sick at school or in the daycare or something, they need to leave, they need to accommodate, they need to pick them up, to do something. So it's a full-time job, two full-time jobs that sometimes the women needs to handle, and that's is something very important to acknowledge, both by the woman itself, to understand that is a stressful thing, that understand that you're not alone as well, right? And to look for support and from her friends or some groups, or in even a therapy, and also to be able to accommodate this, and to request some accommodation for to accommodate their needs. So the institutions and the bosses and the superiors and staff need to be aware of this reality, and that's not that that woman or any woman is not capable of doing the same job as a man. The reality is that our structures, our social structures, need to change, and need to be, first of all, understanding of the reality of a woman, of the reality of having children, for example, or having changes on hormones and things like that, and also the rights that the woman has, and the qualities and the talents, and what the assets that she can bring to the institution, which is different from men. So women can bring much more different assets and different perspectives that are extremely positive and necessary to any institution, any kind of job, that any man cannot, right? So even this reality itself of dealing with the changes of hormones every single month enable us to be more in contact with our own feelings, to be more in contact with other people's feelings, to understand, to be more agile, to be more adaptable, these are all good qualities on an employee that would benefit the employer. And the institution as a whole, and the society as a whole. So it's very important that it's not that we are, we have difficulties and you guys need to accommodate just because we want to work. No, our society needs both perspectives, a feminine and a masculine perspective in every circumstance, and everybody will benefit from having those two different perspectives. And also the reality of some families and some people that does need work, and there is a human right, right? That women has the access of a placement in a work market, in a job market, in order to support themselves, and sometimes support their family and their children, or any dependent that eventually they have. So it's a wonderful opportunity that we have to discuss those things, and to think about that we are an asset for society. And it's not because I'm a woman that I'm saying that. As a psychologist, I see the benefits of a woman's perspective in their workplace, and I work with corporations sometimes, and doing consultation and training and things like that, and is a different perspective that women has, and also different than men. So we have covered so far the reality of dealing with the changes of hormones and the changes of mood and needing to perform, having the expectation to perform the same way every single day at work, and to be efficient, to have a good performance, to be professional, to be leveled, and all that. And also the reality that some women has, not all, but some women has of having kids and needing to work. So is another challenge for women, the reality of women in a workplace. So the other aspect is the equality, right? So statistically, women makes less money than men doing the same job with the same qualifications, and women has less opportunities to grow and to be leaders, to be in leadership positions in every sector of our society. So and that's something that plays a really heavy load on women's self-esteem and also the relationship with the institution and her own life satisfaction and career satisfaction, and so and all that is a very important thing to be aware of. And of course there are some things that is important to have the support, right? For you to look for support in groups in your community, from friends, from your family, talk about it. And even if you need, look for support from a professional through therapy to really find alternatives to help yourself to deal with those challenges, which are real, right? So the other component, of course, is the political aspect, which we are not going to advocate for one way or the other. We are not here to talk about politics, but we cannot ignore as well the need for us to think about, to consider the aspect of continue to build our space in society through voting, paying attention on the candidates that you choose, and the things that how much you participate in social events, or in order for us to continue to gather more equality in our society. So, for example, there are some corporations, some institutions who allowed women to bring their children to work. They have babysitters there, so even though they are working, they are not 100% taking care of their own kids. They have their babysitters to take care of all the children from all the employees of the institution. But the children is there, they can have lunch together eventually, they can see each other once in a while. It is less time separated. As soon as she finishes her shift or her work schedule, she can be right there to pick up their kids. So it is a wonderful tool that those companies are giving to their female employees in order to benefit the women in the workplace. And the result is amazing in terms of there's more production, so women is more productive. They miss work less often. The children get sick less often. The women get sick less often, and the productivity and the work satisfaction is much higher. So everybody wins. So it's not a favor that those institutions are bringing to the women, but is a benefit that everyone gains. The institution gains because women are more productive, and the institutions can take advantage of the single way of that women can cooperate, can collaborate with their institution, which are very important to have a balance between males and females. And in a way that is beneficial for them, for the institution, and for the women and for the children. And that's the other thing, because those children who are raised in a more favorable circumstance with the mothers close by, they can work, the women can work, they can have ways of support themselves and the children, and the children gets grow up healthier because they are not separated from the mother for the longest time, and they know they can have access to the mother anytime they need. I mean, with reason, of course, but it is a much better scenario than when women need to leave the kids at home with a babysitter, or to live in a daycare, or with even with extended family. So is something that this new generation, for example, that are having access to this kind of benefit, are going to grow up healthier. They are going to be better employers and better employees as well. They can be better citizens, and everybody gains, not only now but for the future. So it's something that we need to be aware of, the reality that we live and where we need to go in terms of our own lives, what we need to do to help ourselves in this reality of being a working woman, and also to have clear goals in terms of what are the solutions that we need to acquire in our society in order to have a better situation, not only for women but for everybody, right? Because the reality nowadays is that women does need to work. Sometimes they are the solo provider for their families. Sometimes they are single mothers. Sometimes they need to support others. They need to support some relatives that are disabled or elderly. Sometimes they independent of them needing to work, which is a reality, is a right that women has, because even regardless of the money and the salary, which is very important, of course, is the main reason most people work. But there's another aspect of working, which is the life satisfaction. Because if you stay home, unless you that's what you have chosen, right? That's totally fine. But most women has a need to develop their other aspects of themselves, which are related to being a professional, whatever career they decide to do. They don't need to have a college degree or a specialization or any any specific kind of line of work. Any kind of work, if that's something that they like to do, if that's something that gives them satisfaction and is in alliance with their gifts, with their talents and their vocation, is something that is extremely important for their health, their mental health, to be allowed to develop these aspects of themselves as human beings, besides of the benefits of receiving a salary as a working woman. So as we can see, the situation and the reality is much more complex than sometimes people think. It's not just about working to make money, but it's about the right to be an individual and to be a full citizen, and to make contributions in all the aspects of the society as a woman, and many of those aspects are related to the workplace and what she can do as a professional, again, regardless of what she does and which kind of career she has. So sometimes they can have like a job as a house cleaner, or they can work in a restaurant as a cook, they can be a babysitter, or they can be doctors, engineers, or it doesn't matter what they do. Women need to be infiltrated and collaborating with every aspect of society. So another aspect is the stereotype that we have, even some women has. They grow up listen to this, they grow up believing those things, and we need to break those stereotypes, because we are not suited, humans are not suited to fit in little boxes. So any stereotype puts humans in little boxes, and that is a recipe for disaster, right? So, and one of the reasons we need to break those stereotypes is because this can hurt us as women. This can hurt each other. If you have those stereotypes, you're going to discriminate. You're not going to encourage your friends or understand why they made some choices in terms of career. And also as mothers, right, raising kids, perpetuating those stereotypes, which are extremely destructive both for men and for women. So there's absolutely no difference in terms of intelligence and capability between men and women. Women can do anything that men can, and vice versa. The same way that women can be an astronaut, they can be engineers, they can be a mathematician, they can be a physician, they can be work in construction. Thank God there's more and more women working in this field right now of construction, and all those stereotypical careers, types of careers that what used to be considered men's kind of job. So, and it's wonderful that a lot of women are starting to work in those fields, but they suffer tremendous discrimination. They suffer tremendous problems, like barriers from co-workers, from bosses, even from customers. And that's something that we need to break over time. The more we as women break those stereotypes inside of ourselves, help each other, and help ourselves to empower ourselves and say to yourself, no, I'm capable, I love to do this, why I cannot do it? Yes, I can, and I'm going to practice, I'm going to develop my skills, and I'm going to work on this field just because that's what I love. So, and you're going to be a much better professional than if you work in something else just because somebody else told you that's a better career for you because you're a woman. So if you don't love those other jobs, you're not going to be good at, and you're going to be sad, you're going to be depressed, you're not going to be a good employer, good employee, or a good professional. And that's everybody loses with this, right? So so it's very important to understand that women can do anything. There's a lot of women in the army or navy or air force, and firefighters. So all sorts of jobs that used to be considered men's kind of job, some women are working on being able to work. But it's important that we open our minds and understand that we need to support each other. We need to encourage each other to do those kind of things if that's is what you love to do. And don't discriminate, because there's a lot of problems between women. Sometimes they discriminate each other. They kind of instead of supporting each other, they compete. They stab each other in the back sometimes, right? So, and that's something that needs to change. Some women are very supportive. Some women are very understanding, but some are not understanding that they need to support each other. For example, there's an interesting story that's happening recently in the field of stand-up comedy. So it's a field that is very chauvinistic, it's very male dominated. There's a lot of comedians, as we all know, a lot of female comedians, but they are discriminated. They make less money, they have less opportunities for shows. The male co-workers, the male colleagues on the field, they don't like them, they kind of don't support them. So it's a very rough kind of field. So I saw this documentary about what the American stand-up comedy women are doing now. They finally woke up to the fact that, okay, girls, we need to help each other. So it's something that started kind of by chance, and they start talking about this with each other, and sharing their own experiences as stand-up comedians. And they realize that, wait a minute, we all go through the same thing. Why we don't help each other? Why we need to do something, because the guys are not going to help us. We need to help ourselves. So they start supporting each other. They start going to each other's shows and having those meetings and the clubs, and helping with ideas and solutions to accommodate. Even sometimes they have challenges, right? They have sometimes families and they need to do tours, and it's a different lifestyle, and there are specific challenges that are much more severe for women than for men. So, and then they start to have ideas and share with each other, and the result is their audiences started to rise. Is not amazing? So the audiences of each one of them started to rise, and they start to have more opportunities also because of that, because people hire people that has a lot of audience, right? They want to, the theaters want to make money, the producers want to make money as well. So it's something that is helping everyone. As they are helping each other, everyone individually are gaining, and their career are growing. So it's one of the example of how much we have this power in our hands as women to help each other as working professionals. So, and in terms of the mental health, this is really, really important, because gives us a safe place, gives us a sensation of, oh, wait a minute, we can have the same success as men. We can overcome challenges, helping each other in ways that we couldn't, just fighting against the swimming against the ocean, right, so to speak, fighting against the social challenges by ourselves individually. And and it's very important to have this in mind, and to be aware of all those things, because those things affect our quality of life, our mental health, our physical health, consequently, the health of our families, if you have kids, or if you take care of other people in your life, and or if you have family, like siblings, or affects the relationships and stuff. So having this awareness and is a very important initial point, because based on that we are going to find solutions. We're going to have ideas to overcome those challenges, also to help ourselves to understand, oh, wait a minute, I'm super stressed now, I'm climbing the wall because of this and this and that. So you acknowledge your own challenges, and then you try to find solutions for those problems. For example, you can have a little moment. You don't need to have all day, or if you don't have time to go to a gym or to do yoga or the breeze because you have a very heavy load, both with work and family, and or if you need to have multiple jobs to be able to pay your bills. That's another kind of reality that some women faces. So you can use, you can search in your daily life, in your daily routine, some little tools. For example, you can, while you're taking a shower, you can put some music to relax. You can do like a bath with Epsom salt, and that is extremely detoxing. You can do self-massage before you go to bed, massage your own feet, because this really helps our whole body to go back to the normal, to help our organs to function in the best way possible. So all this stress we have endured during the day, we need to kind of take care of at the end of the day, as much as possible, or in the beginning of the day. Or if you can, for example, if you have a little break at work or something, or lunchtime, or during a little break, try to go up and down stairs instead of using an elevator. Try to park the car a little farther so you can walk a little bit more instead of sitting down, in case you have like a sedentary kind of job like I do. I sit I see clients sitting down and talking with people all day long, so I need to exercise. I need to be mindful about any little time that I have to move my body and to exercise, and also at the end of the day and in weekends. So little things go a long way. And of course, the ones who are facing even harder challenges, for example, the ones who face domestic violence, there are resources out there for you. Don't think that you're, just because your partner said, oh, you cannot go to the police, but otherwise you're gonna kick you out, you're gonna lose your kids, because abusive men always use threats, right? Threats that are really convincing, and the victim sometimes gets scared to look for resources or look for help. But don't believe that, because there's a lot of resources for you out there in our society. There are free legal services that you can use. There's hotlines, domestic violence hotlines, 24/7. That's 100% confidential. You can call them, and they can give you all the orientation. Besides of the emotional support, they can give you all the orientation, what to do, what are these steps and resources you can have to defend yourselves and your children in cases of domestic violence. So don't be afraid to look for help. And also you can always look for a therapist as well, and even your primary care doctor can help you with information and resources as well. Okay, so there's a lot of ways you can have information and support and help to get out of a situation of domestic violence, because this is another extremely difficult challenge for working, right? If you are beaten up, or if you are being a victim of psychological violence, because domestic violence is not just physical, it's psychological, it's sometimes religious abuse. People use religion to abuse the victims, or it's psychological or financial. Sometimes they work all day and really hard, or sometimes multiple jobs, and the man or the other partner, because this happens with homosexual relationships as well, the same way as with heterosexual. So the partner that is the abuser retains all the money, they control all the money, they don't have any freedom. So this is also constitutes violence and domestic violence and through financial abuse. So look for help, and don't be afraid, because the law is on your side. So it was wonderful to have you here. Thank you, Ro, for being here. It's wonderful to see you here. And for all of you who are watching us, Thank you very much for your audience, and we are going to be back next Monday, the same time, 4 p.m. Pacific time and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I thank you. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I look forward to seeing you next Monday. Bye.